What's up, guys? It's Chase from Chase's Workshop, and in this video we're going to get this cigar box guitar to this point here. I know in the last video I basically had the neck done, but we're going to shape the neck. We're going to add a Tru Oil Finish to the neck, and I'm going to go over how to do that kind of stuff, and then we're also going to fit it to the box here. So basically that'll be all for this video. It's already a 30-minute video, so I'm trying to keep these guys short, and I'm also trying to keep them informative too. So anyways, in the next video, what we'll be doing is we'll be adding the sound holes here, tuning pegs, try to get those in, and then I'm going to try to get the electronics done too. We're going to be mounting two piezo transducers, I like saying it like that, into this guy, and I'm wanting to put a switch to where you can go between the one in the bridge and the one on the soundboard, and then have a middle switch where you can run both of them at the same time. And I don't know how that's going to do. It might be horrible, but I figured I'd try it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, give me a like. If you like it, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Alright, so finally getting some time to get back to the cigar box guitar I'm building for my buddy. And I think where I left off, we had got the neck done and the frets put in, all that stuff. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape this neck. And I'm not going to go video the whole thing, but basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to round over these sharp edges. I've got this Shinto file. This thing is really nice. I like it a lot. I've also got a razor file here that's got a concave surface. I've got another one somewhere that's got a flat surface. I'm not sure where it's at, but I'll be using a combination of those three. And I'm not going to go crazy with this because this does not have a truss rod in it, and I don't want to thin this too thin. And plus it's only going to have 3 strings on it, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. And then I'm going to sand this headstock here down to smooth it out, and then I'll probably put some kind of coating on this thing to clean it up. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to shape this guy, then I'll come back and see you in just a minute. One thing I didn't mention about that was I ended up using my spindle sander to get a lot of this bulk of the material off. And now I'm just going back with my Shinto rasp, and I'm just lightly scraping these edges, just trying to get rid of these sharp edges. I also use it to kind of get this heel started here, and I'll finish this up with this curved concave razor file. Like I said, I love these two. This guy here and this thing right here is amazing. If you don't have one of these, I'll put a link in the description where you can go get one if you want to try one out. They're not too expensive, but for what they do, they're really nice. I really like them a lot. So like I said, I'm not really trying to go crazy with the thin neck or anything like that. I'm just wanting to get rid of that hard edge and then give it enough bulk. So like I said, this doesn't have a truss rod in it, so if we get it too thin, the tension of the strings can bow the neck, and we don't have no way to correct that. So we will stay with a pretty thick neck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this right here a little bit. All I'm doing is I'm just taking this guy. I kind of got a rough shape from when I was using the spindle sander, and then I'll go back and I'll try to blend all this in together. And the same thing down here. I basically took the spindle sander and made this concave right here, a little bit of curve, and I'll try to work all that into the actual neck so it's a comfortable fit. So I'll be back in a minute. I kind of got the shape going here. One thing I do want to cover right quick, if you're doing the neck, is I've also got this rasp too that I use. I think I bought this guy from Lowe's, and I'm just basically just moving this guy back and forth sideways, kind of. I'm not going with the wood like that. I'm going sideways. I'm putting a bunch of cuts. I don't know if you can see them on the camera or not, but it's cutting the wood, and it's basically flattening. I'm trying to get it from where I got this kind of contoured to this contour here. I'm trying to flatten this area right here. And I'm just working this guy back and forth. And you can see it's removing a pretty good bit of material, but it's not removing a ton, so I can kind of control it better. Whereas this guy here, it's got a finer side and it's got a pretty coarse side. The finer side kind of does the same thing, and does a really good job as well. But anytime you're wanting to flatten contour to contour, use something flat. Just keep moving it back and forth, and you'll eventually flatten that area or get it close enough to where it's a pretty smooth transition. So I'm working this side, and then what I'll do is I'll flip this guy and I'll work the other side, but I want to get this heel into here good too. Now, one thing to consider when using one of these razor files is anytime that you are going, as you can tell here, this is end grain right here. So what's happening is when I'm filing this side, I'm pushing. This thing only cuts when you push. So when I'm pushing this way, I'm cutting into the mass of the wood. Now, if I just turn this guy around and start going this way with it, what I tend to do, and more than likely what's going to happen, is I'm going to chip out this end grain. It's going to basically pull these pieces off. And you kind of tell it kind of happened right there just a little bit. You can see a piece of that tore out. That's just one thing I'd caution you about these guys here. And even a rasp too. Now, file's probably not as bad just because but you're not taking off as much material. So what I'll do is I'll work one side of this, and then I'll flip it around and work the other side. So I'm just going to turn around the other way. Start working this side now. This what I'm trying to say is that basically I'm running this guy sideways. So I'm more or less scratching instead of sawing, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, working this neck part, I'm just going to keep kind of trying to rounding it over. You're not necessarily got to worry about a lot of your lines right now, because a lot of this you can take out with the sander. And I'm not pressing down hard either. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this guy. And basically just holding it on there. It'll do the work. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the whole neck, just kind of hold it like this, and then kind of work the whole thing. Just kind of smooth it up. Now when I'm doing the sides, I'm just sanding. You can see where my line is from where my side is, and I kind of stay off of this fretboard. I do that on a guitar too when I sand it. I try to get close to it, but not right on it, and then when I go back with the sander, I'll blend it all in pretty good. So there, I think I'm pretty close. I might work this little spot here. You can see I still got that spot. I'm going to work this a little bit. And then I'm going to get my orbital sander, and I'm going to sand this guy. So I've kind of got it kind of where I want it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my palm sander, and I'm going to put some, I might even go with 80 grit. I'm going to start out with 80 grit and just try to sand this smooth and try to work any of these contours, any bumps or anything like that out of it. So that's what I'll be doing next. So I've got my sander here. I'm going to start with some 80 grit. Get me a dust mask. And I'm just going to work this guy back and forth. And I ain't going to show you this whole process, but I'm going to kind of demonstrate it a little bit at least. Okay, so you can see now, you can kind of see all of the spots. Basically what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to get rid of all those cut marks. So when you get this done, you can see I've still got one right there that I need to get out. And There's a couple there. It's hard to get into this heel part right here with the sander. But I'm just going to keep working this. The next thing I'm going to go to is, I got a 120 pad here, and I've got a 220 pad here. And I might even go up to 400, but I'm going to come back after each one of these and show you what it looks like. Alright, so here's after the 80. I went ahead and sanded the front, the veneer on the headstock here. And I've just basically went over this and got as many of those scratches out as I can. Next will be 120, so I'll be going to that. And then the final, hopefully, will be 220, if not 400. Alright, there's after 120. And it's starting to look pretty good. This glue joint's kind of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. Went ahead and sanded this again, and the sides. You don't want to do too much on the sides since we done fitted this guy to our box. But, you know, hopefully it won't be that big of a deal. So anyways, going to be doing 220. Alright, so there's after 220. You can tell we've got a very good looking sheen to it, and I think it's pretty comfortable. It does thin down here a little bit. I think I thinned out down here too much when I was trying to sand the parts. So it kind of gets fat and then goes back thin a little bit, but I don't want to thin this too much back through here. I'm going to take this 220. I'm just going to kind of inspect everything, make sure everything looks good, and try to get rid of anything that I can see. Okay, so kind of got everything cleaned up here. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to be putting on a Tru Oil Finish. This stuff takes a little while to do to kind of build it up, but what you can do is just put, you know, you can put as many coats as you want on it. But a lot of times what I do is I will mix, or I will use this stuff, put a coat on, put 2 or 3, 4 coats on, and then take some really fine steel wool, sand it down, and then put on more coats, and it'll make a really smooth finish if you're wanting to go for that on a cigar box guitar. See my watch, Rotide. I think we're going to get our butts beat this weekend by Georgia though, but it is what it is. Anywho, so I've got this. I'm just going to wipe it on here. I love Tru Oil, especially on a neck. It just makes it nice, very nice. Makes all that grain pop out and all that good stuff. So yeah, and plus it's really easy to do. It's not a hard finish to make nice. Just take your time doing it. I'm gonna go back to about right there. I'm not gonna do the whole heel and everything because we still gotta do some cutting down here. So I'm just gonna go to about right there. That's about where the box meets it, so that's where I'm gonna go to. Just make sure you're getting it rubbed in there good. Make sure you get this end grain up here up top. No matter what you do, end grain's always going to look different. I'm going to do the headstock. This is actually the piece of veneer that come out of the cigar box, so it's pretty cool to reuse it for the headstock. I think so anyways. Make sure you get a good coat on there. Now normally, like I said, what I do is I let this stuff sit for about 30 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes. Get a good first coat on there. And then once it dries, put on as many coats as you want to. And you can get this guy looking as shiny as you want to. After 3 or 4 coats, I'll take some really fine steel wool and rough it up. And basically all that does is it gets rid of any kind of ridges or anything like that that you put on when you rub this stuff on. Go back again with 3 or 4 more coats, and repeat that process, and eventually you'll have a pretty thick finish. It'll look like this. I got a guitar I've been working on. After a bunch of coats, it'll look something like this. This is a guitar neck that I built for a project I've been working on for a bee bender. And this is flamed maple. And I've probably got maybe 12 or 13 coats of Tru Oil on it. And actually, I can demonstrate right now what I'm talking about with the steel wool. This one's been sitting probably for 2 or 3 months, but as you can tell here, I've got the finish on there, and it's a little rough to the touch, but you just take the steel wool and just rub over the top of it, and it'll smooth all that out. And you got to get crazy with it, and it'll kind of dull it just a little bit. Just dull it up. And then once it's done, just kind of brush it off a little bit, clean it up. Take your oil, and you'll see how this stuff kind of goes on a little bit different once you got a bunch of coats on here. But it still goes on nicely. And you just rub on a new coat. Tru Oil is very forgiving, especially for guitar necks. And I think I like about it too, it's a really thin finish. And I like a really thin finish on a guitar neck. I don't like a super thick coat on the guitar neck. So just take it, add another coat. You can tell it just pops right back out. But the combination between the Tru Oil and the steel wool just makes it very nice. And I'll let this guy sit and dry, and it'll be ready. I just love how that flame maple does. But yeah, this is the project guitar I've been working on. I've got the body. This is going to be the body to that guitar. So basically what I've done is I've taken the epoxy down some fabric, and this is actually a staple body, I think, that I'm using for that. It's really nice. I'm going to take this and sand this down. Still got to do all my pickups and everything in this guy. I'm going to put a binding around the side. I haven't decided if I want to do cream, black, or white. I don't know yet what I'm going to do. And then the back will be round over, and I'm going to try to do maybe a gold burst around this edge, and then the back and sides being gold. And I'm going to be trying to do a nitrocellulose lacquer clear coat. All those will be nitrocellulose when I get done with it, hopefully. But anyways, back to the CBG. So you can tell here it's already getting close to kind of dry. And that first coat usually dries pretty quick just because the wood is absorbing all the oil. But it just looks amazingly nice. Just makes anything look good. Fretboard kind of got dirty. I'm just gonna I'm gonna put some on the fretboard and see what it does. See how it turns out. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. So there we go. Alright, so like I said, I will let this sit for about 30-45 minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll put another coat on it. Also, real quick, one important thing about anytime you're doing something with, and this is kind of a safety thing, anytime you're doing something with oils or anything like that, any of the rags that you use, make sure you don't just throw them in the floor and let sun start hitting them, because these things will actually catch on fire. A lot of times what I do is I've got some empty paint cans. You can let these guys dry out, throw them in there, and you know, as long as it's in a dark place and can't get oxygen to it, it's not going to do anything. But like that right there, if I was to just throw that in the corner of my shop and it sat there for a couple days and somehow the sun got on it, it could actually catch on fire, and we do not want that. So anyways, that's just a little caution there for that. Okay, so now we've got, it's pretty dry. It's a little sticky still, but I'm gonna go ahead with another coat just to be done with it. And this is probably all I'm gonna do on this one. I'm not gonna do a ton of coats. I'm just wanting to basically cover it, make it look nice, and have something that's going to kind of protect the wood and make it look good. I don't know. That's what's funny about this stuff. The more of these coats you do, the more you're like, I might do one more. Okay, well I might do another one. Okay, well that one looks good. Let's do another one. And you just kind of get stuck in that whole spot on doing them. So there we go. Alright, so now what I'll probably be working on, now that we kind of got this where I want it, I'm going to be working on getting this box cut out. So we've got the top part cut. If you remember, this guy goes together just like that. That's what it's going to look like. There. And what I've got to do now is I've basically got to cut the back of this guitar this box so that our neck will go into it. And in order to do that, really all I've got to do is just mark it and cut it. I think I might have done all that in the last video that I did on this. I know it's been a while, but I've got it marked out right here where I need to cut it out to. And I'll probably just take my I got a fret saw. I'll take it. I won't cut it on the line. I'll cut it a little bit off the line, and then I like to take files and file this guy back to where I basically fit the neck to the box. I don't try to cut this perfect on my first cut. So yeah, the only other thing I realized too, I might have went over in the last video, like I said, it's been a while since I did that video. I've had so much stuff going on. I've been so many bender kits and holidays and kids, school, and life. The one thing I figured out is that I won't be able to, the top will not be able to lift off like this when I get it all together. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to basically attach it. And if you ever need to remove it, you're going to have to pull screws to get the top off, because this thing won't come off with a neck in it. Which kind of sucks, but it's alright, I guess. It is what it is. We'll probably do some type of hose here for the sound hose. And I'm going to mount a 1/4-inch jack. We'll mount our piezo transducer. I always like saying that. Piezo transducer. Right around here somewhere, about where the scale length will end at. And I might even do another one, because I've heard people putting one, doing one there, and also doing one like up on the top of the guitar, up on the board here somewhere, and seeing what that sounds like, see if that sounds cool. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing next. Okay, so now I have got this kind of roughed out here. Basically what I did was I've got a fret saw, I cut it down right here, and then I took it to my scroll saw and I cut as much of this out as I could, and then I finally went back with this coping saw and basically roughed it out to right there. So it's not perfect, and what I'll do now is I'll try to fit this neck into this piece, and then I'll take my files. I found my flat razor file that I was talking about earlier. It's right here. It's basically the same as the other one, except it's both sides cut and it's flat. So I'm gonna put this guy on here. Neck's kind of dried pretty good from the Tru Oil Finish. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna see how this thing fits. Right now, it's probably not gonna fit at all. So yeah, it's not fitting at all. So I'm gonna take my file here. I'm going to work these sides a little bit and the bottom, and I'm going to try to get this guy to basically fit it to the neck. So here we go. Just a little bit, and then we're going to try to fit it. Huh. Well, that went together all right. My bottom's a little shallow, but I'm not all the way flat here, so I don't know if I've got something holding me off. I think I need to flatten. As you can tell there, I'm hitting this side there, and I'm not hitting up here, so I'm going to lower this side right here just a little bit. I'll just kind of mark it with my pen. So I'm going to lower that side with the file and see if I can get it to seat correctly. So let's see what she does now. The bottom's a little bit, I cut it a little bit too deep, but that did fix the actual, it still looks pretty good. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That looks pretty dang good. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. That neck, the bottom of the thing is still a little bit low, but it'll be all right. Kind of wanted that top to sit right there, so I might shim underneath here with some pieces of wood. Okay, so what I'm basically doing here is I'm taking this little block of wood. I just keep going back and forth between here and my belt sander, and I'm trying to get it to where I can put this piece in here, mount the neck, and this top go on there, and it flush in the front. And I'm still not there yet, so I'm going to keep working this guy down till I get to that point. Let me try it like this. See what that does. I believe that's pretty good. I believe I'm going to go with that. I believe that's good enough for government work. Okay, so that's going to sit in there like that. And we will probably do another shim back here, which will be harder to do because this has actually got an angle to it. I'm not going to put a huge shim there, but I'll just have to keep fitting it in here just like I did that one. I'll cut the block a little bit, stick it in there, and see if it goes together. So I want the back to go together. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got the front shim done pretty much. And if you remember, this guy's angled, so this neck is got a kind of a break angle on it to where we can mount our saddle. I cut this other piece, and I've got it right here. And I'm going to put the top on. It all goes together very nice, and there's no movement between the neck and the box, and this thing fits flush. Now what I mean by movement is if you use a piece that's too small, like say this guy right here, and you put this dude together, if you listen, there's movement in there between the box and that part. So that means that's too small. And I don't know if you remember in the last video. I'm sure you probably do. I don't, because it's been so dang long. But we have an angle here. So we've created this angle. So we've got a break angle of our neck so that our saddle can be taller, because it's going to be out here, right in here somewhere, and it just gives you that break angle. So this part is actually thicker than that part. So what I'll do is I'll glue these guys in. Like so. I won't glue the neck in. Well, I might. Yeah, I will glue the neck in actually. But I'll mount these guys in here like this. And I'll probably put some pieces and make sure that it's straight on each side, and put some pieces on the sides to kind of hold the neck in place. And then all I have to do is mount this top, the piezo transducer and all that stuff in there. So yeah, that's probably it for this video. Like I said, this video is already like 30 minutes long, so I'm trying to keep the videos informative and keep them shorter than normally I do. But in the next video, what I'll be doing is I'll be probably getting all this stuff done. I'm going to mount our input jack. I'm going to drill our holes in our box, and we're going to mount our piezo transducer into there, and I'm going to put one on the top too. And I'm also going to try to figure out maybe using a switch to where you can go between the one on the bridge, the one up here, and then have it like if it's in the middle, it'll do both. And just, I don't know, just kind of experiment with that and see what it sounds like. I think it'll be pretty neat. And then other than that, all we've got to do is drill our hose for our tuners, build our nut that we're going to put on here, and hopefully this thing will plug up and play. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about any of it, just leave them below. Send me a message on my email if you want to. Whatever you want to do, just get in touch with me somehow. I'll be glad to help any of you guys out with any of this stuff. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, give me a like. And if you liked it, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.